Hello and welcome to today's demo. Today I'm going to be showing you how the EarlyPay system works and how you can manage that as a self-serving portal. So for the purpose of today's demo, we have a demonstration company, the warehouse company. And that warehouse company have decided to go ahead with EarlyPay. And so now we're going to see how the system can enable their workers to access a portion of their earned pay on demand via the smartphone app. So within this company, we have an employee, Tim Davies. Tim has been set up in the system, and if we open him up, we can see that Tim is on a monthly payroll, and actually within this month, in the month of June, he has accrued an income. So that income has been accrued in EarlyPay. So that means that he's going to have a balance available in the app. We can see that he hasn't made any withdrawals yet, but what we'll do today is we'll actually go ahead and make a withdrawal to see how that processes in the system. The important thing to see in terms of how Tim has been set up is that, as I mentioned, he's on the monthly payroll. So the company set up a monthly payroll, and you can see that there's one employee, Tim, is on that monthly payroll, and the company has scheduled the rest of this year in terms of those monthly payrolls. So you can see that there's an open pay period for the month of June, and then there's future pay periods for the remaining months of the year. And that is all managed through, you can add periods manually within the system, so you can schedule those into the future. So the employee was set up, and then the pay periods were set up, which means that Tim exists and he's in that monthly payroll. For him to be able to actually get money in the app, we'll need to upload some shifts for him. So if we have a look in the next part of our section of the product, the shift section, we can see that we have imported some shifts for Tim. So Tim is not a salaried worker. If he was salaried, you would set a salary for him when you set him up in the system, and very simply his balance would accrue every working day with a percentage of his annual gross salary based on the amount of working days in the year. But he's not salaried, he's a shift worker, so what we'll need to do is upload shifts into EarlyPay to create that balance. So in true Blue Peter fashion, I have already updated some shifts for the month of June, this open pay period. So actually Tim has completed two shifts, one on the 1st of June and one on the 2nd of June. For both of those shifts, he earned £100. The company has chosen to give him access to 50% of his earnings. So for each shift, he'll be able to access £50. You can upload those shifts through our template in the system, and it's a very simple template, and the process doesn't take long to do at all. So now that we've done that, we've given Tim a balance, let's actually go and look at what that looks like in the app for Tim. So here we have Tim's phone, and Tim, as discussed, had decided that he's going to have a look in EarlyPay and see that, yes, he's got a balance of £100. Well, that's great, and we can see actually why he's got that £100. So, as I mentioned, he's earned 200. There's a limit of £100 because the company have decided to give him access to 50% of his earnings. And so that leaves him with that balance of £100. He could see his previous history, so he could see any withdrawals he's made before. He hasn't actually made any yet. And so he can track his earnings and his outgoings in real time in the app, which is something that's really valuable. For the purpose of this, let's go actually and let's make a withdrawal. So Tim decided that he wants to go into his app and access £50 of his earnings. When you do that, you can see the fees that he's going to incur. So that's very clear. And he's decided, yep, I'm going to go ahead with this, so I'm going to confirm. He'll need to confirm his ID with Touch ID, so we'll do that quickly. And immediately, those funds are sent to the bank account of his choice. So actually, that's run through the faster payment network, so that's more or less immediate. That £50 will be in his bank account now. And yet, we can see that we've received a push notification to confirm that that's happened. That means Tim's been able to manage his income as he needs to based on his requirements. You can see that there's a new balance available, which is rounded to the nearest pound, and that's obviously the £50 plus the withdrawal fee that he's incurred, and you can see that in his transactions history. What we'll also be able to see now, if we go back to EarlyPay, the EarlyPay admin system, and this is what's going to be important in terms of how you run your payroll and the effect this will have, is that we can now see, if we go to our active employee Tim, that if we refresh the system, we should be able to see that that withdrawal has gone back into the EarlyPay system for Tim. Let's open that up. Yeah, so we can see that's withdrawn here, and we can see in his history that in this period, he has made that withdrawal of £50 plus the £2.75 fee. So you can see his new balance available and those withdrawals. The final part of the puzzle is that when this pay period is going to finish, and it comes for your company to run payroll, how does that work? And it's pretty simple. If we look at this current pay period that we talked about, the monthly pay period for June, very simply what you can see here, and obviously we're still in period, but what you'd actually do when you come to cut off and you want to run your payroll is you very simply come into that pay period. You can either download a transactions list, or probably more useful is the payroll export, which is an export template that matches most payroll systems. So all the market leaders in terms of payroll systems will be able to recognize this report, and it's a click of a button to import that into that system, so that those withdrawals are applied as deductions against the employees. So that's very simple. For this company, at the moment, we hadn't set a pay code for those withdrawals, but what you can do is set a pay code that will mirror what's set in your payroll platform, so that those are allocated accordingly, and it's as simple as that. So the system's really easy to use. It won't affect how you run your payroll in any great way, but what it will do is obviously it'll empower your employees to access their earnings on demand when they need it. Thank you very much.